In today's eMoney tip of the week, I'm going to pick up in a two-part series right where I left off, and this is how to do Roth conversions for estate planning. So we have our sample client here, Don and Betty Draper. We've already built out a base plan of Roth conversions, which includes converting $50,000 per year of Don's 401k. It's also showing a Roth that we've illustrated growing at a balanced rate of return, but then I'm overriding it to a flat 5%. Over here, I've created this base plan, which just shows taking all traditional assets and all Roth assets and put them in a 5% base rate. And we love this comparative distributions for a lot of things when we're doing estate planning, but really specifically for Roth conversions. And so what we're able to show, typically you come in here, they're going to be exactly the same because it's going to default to as of today. And so what I like to show somebody is maybe let's go out 5 years, let's go out 10 years. So we're recording this in 2023, so let's just go out 2028. And what you're going to see is there's a very slight difference. Why? Because we're paying those taxes inside of here. And we got to look at what the distribution rate is to our children, what their tax bracket, but it's not growing that much inside of there. And so what you can see is they're going to pay $135,000 expected less to the government and give $27,000 more expected to their children. But as we go out, let's say we go to 2033, just to go out roughly 10 years, and now all of a sudden you're going to see that delta start to change. It's a quick way to have this conversation. You could have over here on the left-hand side of the column, you could have multiple different conversion amounts. We use HolistaPlan tax plan software to try to figure out where we're at, but maybe we have one at $50,000, maybe we have one at $75,000 and $100,000 that we already did the tax plan software to know how it affects them, but also to figure out what their comfort level is. This becomes really huge if you start throwing donor advised funds and other strategies to layer on top of it, and that's why we want to have the base plan over here and having the same one so we can turn things on and off inside of here. But one of the things we're going to do is we're typically going to plan out for last death year, and this is where this 5% becomes huge because of that delta difference as it's compounding over time. And you can do that 5% for all assets, not just the Roth and traditional if you want to. But you're going to see Mr. and Mrs. Client, by making a simple conversion every year, $50,000 and paying the taxes that we expect, it's projected based upon our reasonable assumptions, that you're going to give $509,000 less to the government, and you're going to have an impact of giving $1,052,355 more to your children. Key there, by the way, if you're doing this, make sure you name their children's name, not just say their children. But we're going to go and say, you know what? I know that seems like a big number. That's future value. In today's dollars, that means $362,408 because $1 million doesn't spend like it did. That's today's dollars, $175,000 less to the government. I like to keep it in present value because people can't understand what future value means. And what you're doing is you're pushing them to make a decision based upon information that they don't understand. I want my clients to make informed financial decisions to impact their lives and understand what the real benefit or impact on their financial plan is for them. So that's the first way I like to show this. The next way I like to show this is inside of here. We're going to come down to taxes. And so this becomes really important because we can start to look at what does the taxes look like. Now, if you have the new update to eMoney, you can actually do a side-by-side inside of here, and you can show side-by-side. What I also love about this is we can take this off and we can get rid of linear projections, and we can go back to looking at what? We can look at Monte Carlo inside of here. So this allows you to start doing some Monte Carlo projections inside of here, go in the below average trial. You can also turn this on to present value and future value, and you can also isolate this down if you want to. But the big number here, what you want to focus on is cumulative taxes if you're doing this. What is the cumulative taxes in this plan versus your base plan? Again, if you're using the side-by-side comparison, I don't have that update feature yet. This becomes a really powerful way to show that impact. You can also go down here quickly without having to go into a tax report. Another way to illustrate this too is you can go to a traditional tax report. Again, I like to stay inside Decision Center. What I believe is the power of eMoney is Decision Center. And I believe that since I've been using this since 2006. The reality is they're putting all their time and resources, energy into making Decision Center better. And we've seen in 2023 and what's come out in 2024, they're giving us more and more tools in Decision Center because eMoney believes that's the power of their tool as well too. So harness to where they're putting their resources into to really tell that story with their clients. But we're going to come in here and we're going to go to an income tax report, and you can do a side-by-side comparison, and you can really start to drill down on this, talk about what's the tax difference. Now we can go here to our Roth conversions. Oops, excuse me. We're going to do base facts, and we're going to do it versus Roth conversions over here. You can switch this to linear ones too. So again, I would typically like to do this linear, but again, just for quickly here, you can start to drill down on this. I like to really illustrate. You're going to pay more in taxes. It's going to be painful. Nobody likes to pay more in taxes, but we got to keep our eyes on the prize. Another way I like to illustrate this is if you come in here to the assets, and so again, we're going to have this a base facts versus Roth. You could easily switch this on to the 5% base, but make sure you create that same base in a 5. So you'd have to do the Roth base 5 versus Roth conversion. But you can come here to tax type, and I think this becomes really, really important because you can sit here and say, look at these tax-free accounts. Look at the tax-free accounts here. Another way to show this is inside of estate planning. So again, we're going under Decision Center. If you have side by side, this becomes really powerful. But we're going to go here under estate planning. And again, we're going to go in here to flow charts. And we're going to go say maybe last death year, wherever you want to be, and click on overview. And why this becomes compelling to me is because we can at least say, this is how much we expect to give to Bobby, Eugene, and Sally. We can have their names. They can understand us. You do a side-by-side comparison here of what the value of a Roth. So that's our base facts. Now all of a sudden we're going to do the Roth. And again, if you have that side-by-side Decision Center, you can see how important that side-by-side becomes. But look at this impact. Again, this is linear, so you might want to use the linear assumptions in when you're doing this. Right? Make this maybe more the flat 5%. Might be a better comparison, but if you're going to do that, make sure when you go to the base facts that you're showing the same comparison side by side. So we love using that flow chart inside of there. You can also get the same thing if you want to have it side by side and you don't want to hit go to presentation in there. You can go to flow charts and you can pull this up as a side by side comparison inside of here. So maybe you do the Roth conversion 5%. Make sure you have the right things turned on. I don't think I have them because I'm flipping through here really quickly, but you can see really quickly how we can compare side by side comparison inside of here of what's going on, and we can go and generate this to the vault. So really, really great way to illustrate this. There are so many other ways to illustrate the impact of a Roth, but what I always like to talk about is if we just sat down on a piece of paper and you asked me to show a Roth and I just kind of told you about the taxes, it doesn't show the implication on the rest of your life. What I can do is I can look and see when I'm doing this, I can go back in Decision Center and see what's the probability of success of your other goals. Why I like to say in the Decision Center for most of us, not going to reports, is because Mr. and Mrs. Client, we do this, we do this. What is the impact on our Monte Carlo summary? Does this change? That's great to save money. That's great to pass on money, but I got to put that math on first. So we're 95% compared to where we're at in our base plan. Are we still able to pursue our goals? And especially what I like to do, I would not do this Roth conversion in a separate one. I would do it all inside of alternatives. And I would have a bunch of different buttons that I'm going to be clicking on in all my buttons to really see, okay, how does this impact if we went through long-term care? How does this impact if we had a down market? How does this impact with a lot of other things that we have going on in our lives, not just that Roth conversion? So I hope this helps you to have better conversations with your clients so that they can keep more money to pass on to their heirs instead of giving it to the government. We hope this tip helped educate and empower you to do more plans for your clients so that you can impact more lives through financial planning. If you have some great tips we don't know about, we'd love to hear about them. If you have a better way of doing what we just showed you, we'd love to hear about that because we are a noble profession and together